All right. Welcome back from the 5 to 10 minutes break. So we are going to continue our discussion. Remember that we are still on introduction to Linux or Kali Linux. Now someone will ask, why am I breaking the sessions? I'm breaking it so it won't be cumbersome while you watch the videos. Okay. I am of the school of thought that when a video is long, sometimes the meaning or the not everybody can be able to comprehend the whole knowledge at once. But when it's broken down, it's easily understandable. So we're looking at the importance and or what we call the command lines. The command lines, Kali Linux command lines. That is what we are looking at right now. Okay. So we have what we call the pseudo command. We have what we call the pseudo command. Okay, we have what we call the pseudo command. What actually is your pseudo command? The pseudo command is similar to what we call in your Windows. For example, if you want to open a program, let me say, for example, Notepad. This is Notepad in my Windows. I want to open a Notepad in my Windows. Okay, I think my Notepad. Okay, for example, this Notepad, you will say, if you right click on it, you will see something like this, run as administrator, or you see something like this that will pop up. Okay, I'm sorry, because this was a mistake. This is my Windows. So, okay, let's say I want to open Notes. Is my note. I want to open it. So if you right click on it, you will see the drop down that will pop up. Okay, something you have run as administrator and thereabouts. Okay, so when you click and as run as administrator, or when you are running a program as an administrator, what does it mean? It simply means that Notepad will open or should start up with the privilege of the admin. I'm going to say it again. It means that the file that you are opening, in this case right now before us, is a Notepad. It means that once we click on Run as Administrator, it means it should open with the privilege of an admin. All right. So who is an administrator or the admin of a system? Okay. The admin of a system is the user that has all the privileges. I'm going to say it again. The admin of a system is the user that has all the privileges. So the admin of a system doesn't have any restriction. Okay, it's just like you owning an apartment. So in that case, you are the administrator, you are the landlord, you are the owner of the apartment. You don't have any restriction. But if you are living in a rented apartment, whether it's a 4-bedroom duplex, 5-bedroom duplex that is rented, there are restrictions. For example, when you are signing your tenancy agreement, there might be things that the landlord will say you don't do. For example, in my own apartment, where I was signing the agreement, I remember the landlord saying, dogs are not permitted, and I have a dog. So I have to find a way to do away with the dog because the man has restricted me by saying that dogs are not permitted. But imagine I buy my own house. Maybe I buy a house in Banana Island, or I buy it, I'm not going to be asking for permission for anything I want to do. So that is the way it is when it comes with the right of an administrator. You have the right to do anything you want to do. That is what the right of an administrator gives you. Okay, like I used as an illustration. Then, when I wanted to rent an apartment, the landlord said, I can have my dog. I use it as an illustration. Right now, nobody can restrict me from keeping my dog. Nobody can restrict me from having my dog where I stay. Okay, so the same way, the right of an administrator gives you the privilege to run any program. It gives you unrestricted privilege. Okay, so that is what an administrator is when it comes to Windows. Now, when it comes to Linux environments, it doesn't give you the option to run as an administrator or the way Windows is. So that is where the sudo command comes into play. So the sudo command in the Linux environment is the same thing as the command of an admin in a Windows environment. Okay, so okay, oh God. Okay, so that is it. So here we have our sudo. It allows you to run your program with the security privileges of another user. So by default, you are what we'll call the super user. You are what we'll call the admin. All right. So I'm going to run, since you are using Linux for the first time, once you log in, once you open up your Linux environment, that's what we call updating of repository. Okay, updating of repository. That should be the first thing you should do. Okay, updating repository will be spelled. Sorry. You need to first of all update your repository. This is very important. Please don't forget. Okay, so let's look at what the repository is. Actually, where Kali fetches application for you. Okay, like I've been saying, the Kali Linux environment is not so friendly like that of a window, where you can just go click on application and set it up and start using. In the Linux environment, you can install software using 3 to 4 approaches. Now, look at your repository as a database. Just look at it from that perspective. Okay, once it's a database, that is where data are saved. All right. So I'm going to say it again. Look at your repository from the perspective of a database. What is a database? A database is where data are saved, where information are saved. So your repository is where softwares are saved. Okay, so each time you want to download a software in the Kali checks your repository to see if that software is there. If it's there, it fetches it for you. That's one. But updating your repository means upgrading all the softwares that are already saved in that repository to the updating it to the latest version. Okay, remember, I said, see your repository as a database. A database is where you save information. Repository is where your softwares are saved in Kali. All right. So, but one thing which I'm about to pass to us or let us know, which is very important, is that you must always learn to, update your repository. Okay. Updating your repository means that you update all the softwares that are already saved in your repository to the latest version. So you can use the latest version of those softwares in your repository. So the essence is so that you can get the latest version of that repository in your platform. So if you don't update your repository, in most cases you might get the older version, and it might limit you both in the application or the things that you need to do. So it's good once in a while to always update your repository, especially when you want to install a new package. So since you are using Kali for the first time, I want to update your repository. And the command for that is sudo, or let's use like this, so that I can pass the information I want to pass. apt as information, apt updates, apt updates. Now, this is a command to update your repository. Okay. Okay, let me not use this. Let me log out and log in with another log in with another username. Okay. So done. It is right. So let me log out and log in. Okay. So, okay, that's already logging out. Okay, logged out. So let me log in with this because there's something I want to explain here. Because I think this will give me the best or okay. So this is my workplace already, a terminal. All right. So let me say I want to update my repository and I type in app updates. Click enter. Now, you can see from here, you can see what is showing me. He said I could not reading package list done. All right, said it could not open. Okay. Why I did this is because I want to show you something. So it's for a reason why I intentionally logged out to use this. It was intentional. Okay, sorry, zoom in. Let me zoom it in first. So this is more of a practical class. So we take it one after the other. Okay, I believe you can see better. You can see it clearer now. Sorry. Okay, now you see the error is telling us permission denied. Look at the error. Permission denied. So why is it telling us permission denied? In this case, user I logged in, which is Armstrong, it means he does not have the right, he does not have the privilege to update the repository. It means he doesn't have the right, doesn't have the privilege to use the apt command or update to update the repository. Is like when all of us are working in our offices, every organization have what we call hierarchy, and every office have their own right, they have their own access. Okay, there are certain decisions you can't take on your own. You have to seek permission first. Until that permission is granted, that is when you can proceed. So that is what is happening here. The user Armstrong doesn't have the rights, he doesn't have that privilege to execute this functionality. Okay, so what will Armstrong do? What will you do in your office when you don't have the right to execute something? You go and take permission to someone or from someone who have the right. So Armstrong is going to go and take permission from someone who has the right to execute this privilege. All right. So, and who is that person that has the right and privilege? the person that has the right, which is the owner of the system, is the administrator. So that is what I want to bring to our notice, is the administrator, the pseudo guy. That is a guy who owns the system, who has all the rights. So how will Armstrong take permission? Okay, in order to take the permission, you use sudo, that is permission, apt updates. So the sudo there is actually seeking for permission from the admin to run this command. So once you hit enter, the sudo will ask for the password. So the password is asking for here is the password of the user, which is Armstrong. So Armstrong need to input his password to authenticate that he is the one asking for this permission. So they have to input the password. Now I click enter. Okay. So you see, the moment I click on the password and click enter, the repository is now updating. But there is something you need to take note of. When you are typing the password, it's not being revealed to you that you are typing in the password. For example, I typed in Armstrong's password, but you didn't see the password. So you don't have to see the password. You don't have to panic. Just make sure you type the right password, the correct password. That is what you need to make sure of, right? So this time, you see, it is not telling us permission denied. It started the updates, all right? And it's done with the upgrade. Look at it, done. So 126 packages can be upgraded. So I just updated all the softwares that are not in the repository. So the issue is, or the concern here is that there are situations where you will be leading the sudo, and there are situations where you will not be leading the sudo, okay? All right. So, but in cases where you are going to be needing the privilege of a sudo, the system will let you know. All right. So once it lets you know, just use the sudo. The sudo is the administrative access, or the administrative privilege that gives you access to the function you want to use per time. All right. So I believe this is so clear. This is so clear. Okay. So each time you need use the sudo, you have to call on the functionality, or call on the functionality using the sudo in order to use that particular function at the time you need it. All right. Okay. So this is how the sudo function. So so we have to proceed. Okay. Okay, this 12226, I know someone will looking, what does it mean? It's telling you the packages, the repositories that are upgraded. Okay. So there might be some functionalities you need or things you want to do, but running sudo all the time might be hectic, or might even forget that you need to use sudo, and it becomes frustrating. Okay. So you can equally log into the terminal as an administrator. Okay. I'm going to say it again. You can equally log in as the administrator. Okay. So let me open a new terminal, Control-Shift-T. Okay, if you want to open a new terminal, just Control-Shift-T. This is the old terminal I was using, new terminal, Control-Shift-T. So let me see, zoom it in. Remember that the user here is Armstrong, okay? But I can log into the system as an administrator myself so that I don't need to be using sudo whenever I need access. If I log in as an administrator myself, it means I have all the privileges, I have all the right. But I'm going to mention the advantage is that you have all the rights, you have all the privileges, you are not restricted. I'm also going to show you the disadvantage. All right. So now use the command sudo -i, okay, and you hit enter. So it will ask you for password. That's Armstrong password. You see, type in the password that you use to log in, enter. So you see, this time around, it has logged you in as an administrator. So something else to look out for is a prompt. You can see the prompt here is using the username I used to use. But the moment I logged in and I got into the administrator, is now showing me the root. That is a prompt you need to look at or pay attention to. So something else you also need to look out for is a character. For a least privileged user or for a standard user is a $sign. But for the admin user is the #. All right. So these two, the prompt and this character, we need to look at it to know what privilege that user you log in had and now the admin. So the moment I log in as an admin, like right now, I'm the admin, I don't need to use sudo again. I can just give any command I want, For example, I can just use app updates instead of using sudo app updates. I can just type app updates. Sorry. Updates, okay, instead of typing sudo, you see, the moment I click on it, it will just start updating itself as, okay, it doesn't need to update again because I've updated not quite long, but let me see, run it again so that you see it, apt updates, enter, okay, it's updating quickly, but it's not going to take time like the first time I did it. Reason being that he has updated before. You notice quickly it's done with the update. All right. So upgraded, done. So right now in the admin platform or admin system. So how do I leave the admin system back to the user I was using? How do I leave the administrator's platform back to the user I was using? Remember, the user I was using before was Armstrong. How to do that is just very simple. Just type exit, click enter. Watch. The moment I did that, it took me back to Armstrong. Watch. And like I said, you look at the character and the prompt. The prompt has changed from root to Armstrong. Character has also changed from hash to $. The admin platform, admin page or admin rights using the working from the root is very wonderful, good, because you will not be using other things like sudo and thereabout, but it has its own disadvantage. The disadvantage is that if someone should attack your system or attack you at that point where you are logged in as an administrator and log in, it simply means that when they use that credential to log in, they will have those privileges. All right. So it is not solely advisable that you log in as an administrator. So that is why for later version of Kali, you have to create a user, and it won't allow you to log in as an admin. You have to create a user. So, but if you want to do something that requires the admin, you can just use sudo, do it. Once you have done that, you are back to your user. You are still in your user platform, okay? So that you will be able to save your system. Because if someone attacks you and it attacks you while you are using or on your admin or the root, the person gets a password, it means that the person have already have access to your system, and it might be difficult to change or thereabout. Okay, so So that is it. Okay. So if I want to clear off everything that is here, just like clear, click, it clears it off. All right. So let's go back to our notes and check what is there. Okay. Now, under sudo here, you have sudo app updates, maybe sudo app install nmap. All right. So at the same time, you have, I think, sudo. So these are functionalities. You can also have sudo app install, maybe depending on the website, or sorry, on the application you want to install. Like you can could be sudo app WhatsApp, you just update it. Sudo app Telegram, sudo app Instagram, you just update it for you. Okay. So the next command is the adduser. The adduser is used to create a new user on a system. Okay. It's used to create a new user on a system. That's what the adduser, just as the name implies, adduser. It is used to add a new user to the system. All right. So we all believe you have downloaded your Kali, or when you download your Kali, remember that the default user is always Kali. Okay. So when you do that, it's idea that you create your own user. Okay. So how do we create the user? So let's look at how to create the adduser. All right. So I've cleared the first distance. So remember, this is Armstrong Kali. Armstrong is a user. Okay. Armstrong is a user on his own. Okay. So I want to create another user. Okay. So the essence of creating this user is so that you see how users are added. So to add user, you use the command add user, then the name of the user. Let's say I want to create a user called Ekene. So add user Ekene. Okay, let me say Ekene. Ekene. I want to add something to it. Ekene 15. Okay, Ekene 15, and you click. All right. You see what I was talking about? For every functionality that requires you to use the administrator, we always prompt an error message or let you know that you need to use the administrator. For example, you can see this. I wanted to create a user, another user that can be using the system, and I use, remember that the user using it right now is Armstrong. So Armstrong wanted to create a new user, and I use add user, and I added the name or type the name of the person I want to create. Let's say the name of the person is Ekene 15. So now I did it. It popped up something. Only root may add a user or group to the system. What is root? Root is an administrator. So it's telling me now that it's only the administrator. So in order to do this, I need to do what? Sudo. So I use sudo add user Ekene 15 and hit enter. You see, adding Ekene, he has added Ekene, so it's requesting that I input password. So create Ekene's password. So I'll create Ekene's password. Click enter. It asks me to retype the password again. So I'll retype the password. So is that asking me for what is the full name? What is the full name of the person? Now, this is optional. If you want to type in, you can type in. All right. But if you don't want, you can just be going down. But let me assume that we are typing in. Okay. Let me just full name. Ekene Chinedu. Okay. He has asked me the room. These other informations, you can skip them by hitting enter. Work phone number. But if you choose to fill them, fine, you can just fill them. But if you choose not to, you can just be clicking, just hit enter and be going. But if you choose to fill them, fill it, you can fill it, click enter, click enter, click enter, click enter. So at this point where it's asking me whether the information is correct, Y or no. So you respond with Y, which is yes, click enter. So at this point, he has created a new user for us called Ekene 15. So we need to text and be sure that this was created. So in order to do that, you can just log out. Let me log out and see if I can log in as this user. So here I'll come to the PowerPoint, click on logout. So I'll click on logout. So I'll use switch user. So I want to log in with the new created user, that is Ekene 15. So Ekene 15, I'll type in the password to see if I can log in. So let's watch and see if it's correct. So it's correct, and one can log in. So I've logged into Ekene 15. So right now I'm on Ekene 15. Someone will ask, why is the interface of this different from the other one? It's based on setting. You can decide to set your own. So I decided to set this like this. So at the same time, you can just come down to desktop setting and also find a way and set your own. I just like it like this, okay? So, but let's proceed because I want it to be different so that it will be different from the other one that we have, okay? So now I'm here in this user. Okay, let me just click on, all right, can see it here. Ekene 15, Ekene 15. So let me zoom it in. Let me zoom it in. Zoom in. Okay, all right. So I can decide as long as I'm logged in, let me see updates my repository. So what do you do? Sudo apt updates. So is he going to ask me for my password? So you see the message I'm getting here. Ekene 15 is not in the sudoers file. So I'm doing these things intentionally. So you see, you notice Armstrong was in the sudoers file. So that was why he has the right to create a user. Armstrong is not the admin, but Armstrong has a level of access that have been given to him by the admin when Armstrong was created. Okay, so now one of the assets that was given to Armstrong was that he can create a user. So that was why I was able to create a user from Armstrong. Okay, so but that right now, for example, one of also the right that was given to Armstrong is that Armstrong can update the repository using sudo app updates. But Ekene here does not have that access. It does not have that right. Okay, it does not have that right. It does not have that right. So it's not in the sudoers file. So what this means that the newly created user do not have the right to use sudo. Are you getting it now? You do not have the right to use sudo. It's just like you have a new employee in the company. The employee have not met the CEO, or the CEO have not met them or authorized them or recognized them. Okay, there are certain functions they will not be given. So what it means that the user does not have the right to talk to the administrator, does not have the right to talk to the administrator, asking the administrator for permission. So this is where access control comes into play. So we need to give this user rights. We need to give the user the right to consult the administrator. Okay, and now to do that, we have to add Ekene 15 into the sudoers file, because all the sudoers that are in all the users that are in the sudoers file are the users that can communicate with the administrator. Is that clear? I believe is clear. So this is where the next command comes into play. So which is the user mode. I did that intentional because I want to introduce the next command, which is the user mode. Okay. The user mode is used to add a user into the sudoers list. That is what the user mode is all about. It's used to add the user into the sudoers list. So let's look at. So to do that, we need to log out first. We need to log out. We need to log out. So also make sure that when you are logging out, you uncheck this save session. Okay, so log out. So for you that this is your first time, it should be Kali. Okay, but for me, I will be using Armstrong. Let me use Armstrong because Armstrong have been given a level of access and functionality. So the same way for you, what you are going to use is you can use Kali, or let me use Kali because I'm taking your position as that this is a new person. Okay, remember that Armstrong can do this also. But let me log out from Armstrong and let me use Kali. Reason is because it will be the same because while you are working, you've not done this before. So we use Kali. You just created your own user now. So you use Kali because we want to give the user you created using the Sudo mode, use your user mode, we want to give him or her right. So what do? You open your terminal. Sorry. Okay. So let me zoom in. Zoom in. How do you zoom in? Ctrl++. And use Ctrl++ to zoom in. All right. At the same time, you can just right click and click on zoom in. So how do you do it? Type sudo user mode. Okay. Shift-A, capital G, all together. Then you shift it again. Sudo, then the name of the person, which is Ekene 15. Okay. Watch it again. Sudo user mode -A, capital letter G, shift, sudo Ekene 15. So you hit enter. He now requests for my password. So I'm going to Kali and type in, you see. So there's no error code. It just took me straight to Kali, took me straight to the next listing. That means it went well. So now let me log out and then log in with Ekene 15 and see if what we did worked. Okay. All right. So Ekene 15. Okay, password. All right. So we are in. So let's see if what we did worked. So the question, what did we do before? We try to update repository, or we'll try to use sudo's right. I will notice that Ekene does not have that. So let's try it again. Let's try it again. So let me zoom in first. So it will be visible. Okay. So let's try it again. Sudo apt update. So you type in your password. So here should be the next password. So as you can see, this time it's accepting to update. So it just is updating 35%, 70%, done. So right now, Ekene have been given access to the Sudo. He has been given access to the administrator. He now have right, he now have privilege of the Sudo, he now have privilege of the administrator. So it means he can now use Sudo. He has a right now because he has been given to him. So Ekene is no longer a least privileged user. He has been upgraded to someone who can actually use the Sudo or use the admin. So we will take maybe a 15 minutes break or 20 minutes break. Is going to be a little longer. All right. So when we are back, we'll continue with the next. Thank you. Bye-bye.